something you've said for years on this show about trans people being mentally ill. And beautiful.
They're mentally ill.
But mentally ill.
That's not a real thing. Trans is a real. Neither is lesbianism, by the way.
Meta, Facebook, and IG is now going to allow you to say that without getting flagged or banned or anything today. Zuckerberg goes on Rogan, and then he went scorched earth on Biden and the administration during COVID and what happened to everybody, including us.
I mean, it's a lot. It's easy to go scorched earth when the guy's on the way out.
That's what I was saying.
He could have gone scorched earth in 2021 too.
I 100% agree.
Gerard and I talked about this the other day. People that were complicit who are now saying that that's just the most forgivable thing and let it go. Especially we were saying earlier, he has all the lawyers in the world that could have stood up to this. And he also had a giant platform where he could have made it public what was going on. And he opted not to.
So
you were getting audited, so if you're on the up and up, what's the problem?
But are you happy or sad with this news? Because
I'm struggling with it.
I am too.
I mean, it's better than the alternative, which was if Kamala Harris had won, he'd still be doing the shit on behalf of the
probably
government.
Worse. So there is that. You're absolutely right. But also, I need more than just hey, we're gonna play fair now. Like, this is 4 years, 5 years, 8 years of my life, my career, a lot of other people's as well. And, you know, everybody else heard this as a good announcement. Like, oh, look, you know, Facebook and X, or not Facebook and Instagram, you know, they're going to be even Stevens now. Isn't that great? And I'm like, no, I didn't hear it that way. What I heard is him admitting that he was biased and censoring us and demonetizing us. He just admitted complicity.
What he admitted to is violations of the First Amendment. So you as an individual, if you like, let's say this is your channel or your business and you tell me to shut the fuck up and leave and I can't say what I want to say, you're perfectly within your rights to do that.
Correct.
But if a government agent of any sort, doesn't matter what level, a bureaucrat to a fucking enforcement officer, instructs you to do that, now you have violated somebody's First Amendment rights on their behalf. Both individuals, the person that did it and the person who ordered them to do it, are both guilty of violating your civil rights, and they can be sued to that effect. Everybody in America should be fucking launching a goddamn class action lawsuit against Zuck right now.
Yes.
Well, isn't this what America First Legal was supposed to do? Like, and also, shouldn't you be allowed to know if you were on one of those lists? I deserve to know.
That's what I want to know too.
Yeah, and I also see it if it is a corporation, and I totally understand what Dan's saying. Like, if it is a corporation, they're allowed to say, you know, look, this is how this works. This is our rules.
If he chose to do that on his own, then that's perfectly legal.
Yes.
And you can get f***ed if you don't like it.
But he's claiming coercion.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's admitting to committing crimes.
Yeah,
I don't think he knows he's doing it. I don't think he knows he's doing it.
I don't either.
But also, they want to be treated, though, real quick, like the phone company or anything else. And it's like, that's very important. So that's supposed to be a public thing to trade information.
Yeah, this was a big thing with Ma Bell back in the day. So Ma Bell was shutting people's phone service down because they didn't like them. Right. They didn't like what they were doing and stuff like that. Western Union got involved in it as well, and they got sued, went to the Supreme Court, and they were like, you can't, this is a public utility. You can't do this. Right?
Yeah. Play this clip for the audience, Bob.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are
true.
Lie. Yeah, you did.
That's
and
a
then
lie.
At some point, I guess I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
Okay.
These people from...
So, yeah, you can clip it there, but even hearing that, like, you're a fucking liar. To me, you're a fucking liar, dude. And it doesn't make me feel any better about any of this shit. The only thing I think about is if Kamala won, this would have just continued.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't be on Rogan.
No.
The company would have moved forward. The restrictions would have gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. Now that Trump's in, he's worried about getting fucked, and this is what that sounds like to me.
And what's your definition of brutal? Like, that's pathetic.
Right.
It's like you were being, yeah, of course they were telling you to do
somebody
stuff.
saying stuff is not brutal. I can show you
No.
brutal if you would like.
That's what I mean. There's actual brutality in the world, and he had the ability to challenge this, not under a microscope. I mean, it's the most public thing available.
No, he's a coward, obviously.
Absolutely.
Right? Same thing
Well-
with Jack Dorsey. Like if you remember Jack Dorsey towards the end of his reign there at Twitter, he looked like a guy he looked like a hostage.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
and that's what like if you're a pussy, that's what happens to you as a man.
Well, that's
you just
why-
get beaten down over time.
Yeah, and that's why, like, the movie The Social Network, it's just a remake of The Karate Kid, if you actually break it down, because they try to paint him in this light of somebody who was, like, bullied by these guys, and it's like, no, you just stole two guys' idea and then became a billionaire. That's the reality.
No.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey's another
Is that
one.
him now?
Yeah, Jack Dorsey's
On the
another
right?
one.
On the
Yeah,
right,
yeah. You know, now he's Satoshi, freedom to the people. He always wanted this to be a libertarian thing. No, you're full of shit. The people that Jack Dorsey put, that old Indian girl and the Yoel Roth are two of the most evil people on earth. And just to tell my story real quick, because I know this sounds like the poor me's, but I know, Ross, you guys went through it here too. We were selling out. Me and Caroline Miljavik were on tour. We were selling out during a pandemic. Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, Sunday nights. People that don't understand how the comedy world works, to get into the whatever you want to call it, the circuit takes years. And then you make money, and you don't make a lot of money on the one-off, so you have to get into these weekend deals and all this other stuff. We want to get into the weekend deals. We're signed by this agency called ICM, which at the time was second or third biggest agency. And they wanted us to start doing vaccine passports to come into our shows. We said no. And within weeks, we were released by ICM. And we're selling out Tuesday nights during a pandemic in Omaha, Nebraska, going to Davenport, Iowa on a Wednesday, selling out. So, and what we were told by Brandon was they don't have the bandwidth. They merged with CAA. Not every agent's going to make it. Not every client is gonna come with us, and we just don't have the bandwidth right now to represent acts that don't actively amplify minority and LGBTQ plus voices. So, like, you get fired for being straight, right? But it was really like we just weren't towing the line, and they were just looking for any excuse to get rid of us. And then you go from, I can't get booked in New York. I can't post anything without being demonetized. I have 100,000 followers and 30 people are seeing my stuff. Like, it's social media, so nobody takes it seriously. But it's like you put my career in prison, man.
It's your job.
Without
part of your job. It's how you promote yourself.
There's no other way to do it. You can't what else? There's no other way to live digitally.
They recreated the medium in order for you to actually get attention to yourself, and then they didn't let you use it. That's a violation of your freedoms, any way that I see it.
But people on the other side will argue, well, hey, we're a private company. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
But yeah, but going back
You'd
to
have to make them a public utility. That's the only way around this.
But that's pretty much how they are.
Who?
Facebook, Twitter.
Oh, I agree, but that's what they're hiding behind is
Of
saying,
course,
hey,
yes.
we're a public company. We can do whatever we want. We have our own rules. We have our own things. The interesting part to me is you had Zuck today, obviously with Elon and X. Last one left here because TikTok, it looks like it's probably going away. We'll see what's going to happen here in the next 9 days.
My TikTok got deleted the day after I went on Alex Jones or InfoWars.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people's have.
Well, it's just a
Deleted.
Chinese spy
Deleted.
machine. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's all. Well, we don't know. We'll see what it is in the end. But
I mean, yeah, we don't know.
I think that's what we
That's
all
what it
think.
seems to be,
That's what
yeah.
it seems like. But we're all being spied on by Americans anyway.
But shouldn't we know what the rules are, right? Like you know what the rules are, right? Like if you walk into any private business, and I'm a private business guy, and it says, no shirt, no shoes, no problem, or whatever. We walk, no service. You walk in. You can't walk in there with no shirt on and be like, come on. We don't know any of the rules of this. We don't know what the algorithm is. When you guys are drinking bros and you guys are trying to invest and build something here, and then you look up and one day somebody gets a hair up their ass and just goes back 3 years through content and report, and your stuff is demonetized for something you did 2 years ago. How can you engage in any sort of communicative business like that?
And if you try to fight it, it just goes to AI. They'll shut it down, and you don't even get to talk to a human on this.
Yeah,
shit.
Well,
I mean,
it's
if you talk to any of the gun tube influencers,
Yeah.
they've gone down the rabbit hole with this stuff now, and it is, it's Indian people that are doing it. they're the ones. So AI flags certain stuff, but when it comes to guns specifically, Indian people are doing it. And one of the ways
They like arrows.
yeah,
sure do.
One of the ways that people are bypassing this is only using old school guns like fucking Colt Peacemakers and shit like that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because the fucking dot heads over there think it's like a fucking a Hollywood prop or some bullshit like
Indiana
that.
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's how fucking stupid. Why the fuck is presentation of a constitutionally guaranteed right being censored in the first place? That seems like it might be a problem, right? But certainly, why would we have foreigners doing that shit? Why are we outsourcing the fucking content moderation to people that, I don't know, can't figure out how to not get dysentery, for example?
Mike wasn't the
Ben's
only gun.
cleansed-
Sorry, but the only the way the gun problem seems to be getting worse in the United States is always by vilifying the gun.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
we should maybe make murder illegal.
I think there should be certain rules, and
But
there's got to be some rules around it. But not
every
many.
time I see like the gun people come out, though, I'm always like, yeah, we should definitely make murder illegal first. You know, if laws are going to fix it, let's make murder illegal, guys, and then we'll stop murdering people.
But the change in these people too, like I'm looking at this Jack Dorsey picture. He looks like Rick Rubin now, like he's some
He's
fucking
got his
spiritual
Nirvana
guru.
shirt
Zuck looks like Jack Harlow.
Yes.
That he's fucking changed and all that other shit. At least, look, at the end of the day, at least these platforms are switching. Hopefully, we'll find out.
Do you believe that they are?
We got flagged for something that look. I have an email about it today. So it's for our business. It's for Hard AF Seltzer on Facebook that says we will not recommend your page, and it was due to a meme that was posted. And I get it every Friday, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this. Why even email me at this point? Like, and they're like, sorry, we won't recommend your business. And it was like, cool. But I did Tom on Rogan. You're gonna change, right? And it's like, I don't know. Dan talked about this the other day. With the algorithms and everything else, and there's billions and billions of users, it would take forever to untangle all of this shit. And I don't know how you actually really go back to it unless you're looking at not just Trump 4 years. You're going to have to go 12 with like a Vance or somebody else and really curve these people. But Google hasn't done anything. So like, I don't know who runs Google.
Google's owned by China. It's just China at this point.
Is it?
Yeah,
Because
mostly.
that is the biggest censorship to me is YouTube.
Google does whatever China says it tells it to do so it can keep doing business in China. And if you believe Mike Benz, you know, a lot of this censorship is coming from NATO and the UN. And in a certain way, I always, this is my conspiracy theory, is that, in America, we think in terms of years. We think in terms of like 4 years and 8 years. Europe thinks in terms of centuries. They're very old, and they have a lot of old money and a lot of old families. On a certain level, I always think like the British Crown thinks that we are the dissident children. Like America is just the British Empire on Rumspringa right now. And at some point, they're going to bring us back under heel. At some point, European bureaucracy is going to bring us back into this global federation.
Do you know that the UK has put 3 times more people in prison for social media posts than Russia has in the last 3 years?
No.
I did not know that.
I didn't know either.
That's
3
odd.
times?
Yeah, 3x. Yeah.
Did you see that hearing the other day they had where they said with the grooming gangs? They were like, we don't want to hear it. We're voting against this.
And are these? That's the thing that's
Well, did you see,
bothering me
like,
the most about it, though. Like when if they just create new rules like that, right? Like you can't just make something illegal and go then arrest everybody who's ever committed this crime. That's essentially what that is.
You've
isn't
never
it?
heard of the DEA, sir.
Well, no, I'm aware that
Or the ATF. The ATF.
yeah. No, I'm
the
aware
ATF
it's
tries
done.
that.
But it's like that's what they're doing is they're just changing a rule and a law inside of whatever their programming is. They're not telling you, or it's hidden under an agreement thing that no one even would ever have the time to read. And then they're going to go ahead and arrest you for it, or make sure that, at least in America, that you are not seen. That's a serious problem.
Yeah, it's a digital gulag. I mean, the more we move into our digital lives, the more we live in, the digital realm, it's digital prison. They put you in digital jail. And you have no, civil rights there. You have no anything. And then, people are like, oh, it's a private company. I mean, imagine that same thing. There's private prisons. You don't just get to scoop people up and be like, oh, guess what?
Yeah.
You know, Michael Jordan is heavily invested in those private.
He sure
prisons.
is.
Is he really?
That's big business.
Is he really in those for-profits?
Big business.
Gotta
And
get
you know,
that
like
gambling
certain
money
states,
back.
He's about to hit $3 billion in wealth.
certain states
Seriously?
like Oklahoma, California. I think Arizona's not one. Oklahoma, California. There's a couple that have in the contract with the private prison in the state. The state is required to keep a certain amount of beds filled in the prison. Otherwise, they have to pay for it anyways.
Right.
They pay a penalty for not incarcerating enough people, which seems odd. Seems a little bit like slavery.
And it,
Well, it also seems
Like you're not getting their labor, but you're getting their time.
and
in exchange for
the
money.
politicians are allowed to invest in those too, right?
They can invest in anything they want.
And you know what?
well, and it's just more. I mean, it's more proof that it's never been about rehabilitation and changing people, and they know that. It's always been about keeping you stuck in a system, and what better way to do that than profiting off of it?